I was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot.
Hey, this is James Malinchak, featured on ABC's hit TV show Secret Millionaire. I just had her here at my event, which is a 4-day event. We had about 300 some people, and I gotta tell you, she was on stage and she wowed the audience. She made me look good, and she will make you look good also. So if you want an amazing event that will change the hearts, the minds, the souls, and the spirits of your people while making your organization look good and create lasting memories, do yourself a favor, hire Elizabeth today. You will be so grateful you did.
Because the next phase I went into is when I almost failed. So I went from this to this. You see, when I got into flight school, I drew a flight instructor that didn't believe women should fly. He was a good old boy. We know a couple of those, don't we? And he didn't believe that women should fly. But he could not fail me based on my gender. That would be against the law. But he could make me want to fail. You see, flying a helicopter, you have the cyclic, the stick in the middle. You got your feet on each on a different pedal doing a different thing. You got this hand, the left hand, doing the collective, which pulls the power. Then you got a helmet on with a little microphone, and you're talking on an internal control system, communication system. And then you've got the external, the air traffic control. And then you're scanning your instruments to make sure everything's good. And you're also scanning outside to make sure you're not going to hit a tree, a power line, or another aircraft. That would be bad. So we're doing all that. Multitasking on steroids. I have to say I'm a much better driver now. We had to do all that, but learning how to fly, hovering, is the hardest part. You see, it takes a very soft touch here, and a very small movement here is a very big movement up in the rotor system. In fact, ladies, I want you all to sit up straight, because women make the best helicopter pilots. You see, we have that soft touch, right? But what happens when your flight instructor is screaming at you? Does that touch say soft? It's like stirring the pot, whipping the meringue. And it gets rough, and I go too far to the left, and I go back to the right, and I go too far to the left, and I'm back to the right, and we start doing this pendulum thing. Yeah, that's bad. Don't do that. And the flight instructor says, I have the controls. A monkey can fly better than you. You're stupid. You don't deserve to be here. What makes you think you can do this? But I'm back here in this belief. And I refuse to quit. Now, the first week it wasn't so bad. The guys couldn't hover either. It's hard. It's the hardest thing to learn, flying a helicopter, because it's like the bumblebee that shouldn't fly and does anyway because it doesn't know any better. So it's okay. The second week, I'm not the only one. It's okay. The third week, I'm the only one. Not hovering. The fourth week, we're halfway through the course, and my grade sheet every day is an F for failing. F, F, F. I'm failing. I didn't know how to fail. All I knew is I couldn't quit. So, the fifth week, can I get an instructor change? No. Can I? No. Can I? No. Okay. Oh, why not was not appropriate in that situation. Because I said so. The seventh week, only 2 weeks left. And I walk in, and I still am refusing to quit, but let me tell you, I'm close to broken. Because I'm still failing, and there's only 2 weeks left, and it's going to take a miracle for this to happen. And I walk in, body language down. But I'm there. I show up. And I walk in and I look up. He's not there. It was a young active duty instructor pilot substitute. And all I could think is, I have a shot. I have a shot. And he looks at me and he looks down at my grades. That's my first impression. F, 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 F. So I looked at him and said, how you doing? What am I gonna say? And he goes, what's the deal? What's the deal? And I went, okay, you'll all be really, really proud of this response, okay? I just want you to really take note. This is the correct way to respond, all right? I tried really hard, and he yells at me, and then he monkey flies back at me, and then he tells me, and then I tried to get it enough, and I tried really hard. Did I mention crying in uniform is bad? Bad. He goes, okay. Do you want this? Now again, that voice in the back of your head, mine's going, duh? Why would I still be here if I didn't want this, right? Again, not the appropriate response. So I said to him, oh yes, I want this. He goes, I'm going to teach you. Thank you, Lord. Finally. So, do you all want to learn how to hover today? Would you like me to teach you the one thing that he taught me that allowed me to hover that day? I'm going to teach you what that is. You ready? Yeah. Okay, right hand up in the air. Come on, you can put it up high. The person next to you won't know your deodorant's worn off. All right? Bring your elbow down. Tuck it up against your rib cage. That's your pivot point. Brace your elbow and bring it down. How far and how hard can you move that wrist when it's braced? He taught me to brace my elbow. One thing, and I hovered that day. One thing. And why didn't the other, oh yeah. That instructor, God, I wish I could remember his name. That instructor taught me more. Oh my God, I just remembered his name. Woohoo, you guys got some good energy. I'm liking this. Yeah. I did, I just remembered. He was a Warrant Officer Rosh. Rosh. R-A-U-S-C-H. I just saw his name tag talking to you. Thank you for that gift for me. That's amazing. I've never been able to remember his name. So, cool. All right, so he taught me more in 5 days than the other instructor taught me in the entire 7 weeks prior, 6.5 weeks prior. And that next week when the other instructor came back, and it was check ride week, final exam, and he walked in just ready to fail. And he couldn't. He could not fail me because I knew just enough to pass. Now let me tell you, I didn't have the 7 weeks of practice doing it good. Because does practice make perfect, ladies? Perfect practice makes perfect. And I sure didn't have that. If you practice role-playing with someone, you practice it for real. You give it all you got. Because when you practice it, you practice those conversations you want to have with prospects, you practice it as if it's for real. Because the way you practice it is the way you live it. And life is not a dress rehearsal, ladies. You get this right now. That's it. And then another moment, you're going to get that one. You got to make the most of it. He couldn't fail me. But let me tell you, it was ugly. Oh! Oh, it was ugly. Because I didn't have the practice doing it right. And you know what I learned from that? When I finished that exam and I passed last, remember I went from being first, now I'm last. I was so happy. I was so happy. Because I realized, and this lesson serves me today, is I didn't have to be first to win. How many people can be first? Winning is in here, it's in your heart. It's knowing you did your best, no matter what other circumstances get in your way. It's knowing that I could not have done anything better than this. That's what winning is. That's what succeeding is. And here's the trick. You get to decide what that means for you. You decide what that means. You decide what level that's at. You get to decide what success means and what winning means for you. We get to my first duty assignment. That's up at Fort Drum, New York. Anybody been there? Yeah! Snows every month but July. I knew I was in trouble when they issued me my house and they gave me my own snowblower. A snowblower. I had to have them show me how to use it. But they were really good to us because if it was colder than -30, they let us do physical fitness inside instead of outside. So I was at Fort Drum, New York, my first duty assignment. I was there during the 1998 Great North American Ice Storm. 115 hours of freezing rain fell on upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and big sections of Canada. Over, I think, 4 or 5 million people without power, some of them for months. The ice was so thick that the salt wouldn't cut through. And the ice was so thick that the snowplows couldn't get underneath it. So the area was impassable. But Fort Drum, we had buried our power lines. And we had power, so we were operational. And the aircraft had been hangared before the flight. So we were functional. We got the call from the governor's office. We need 2 aircraft, Blackhawks, to fly down to Albany, which is about an hour and a half of flying time. And we're gonna fly the governor, FEMA, congressmen and women to see their constituents, and towards the end of the week, probably some other people. Okay, I get the call. Had to arrange childcare for my daughter. And we go out to plan the mission. It's going to be a tricky mission. You got to follow this, all right? You tracking? You see, we're going to be, let's start here. It was cloudy. And clouds are made of? Water. And it was below freezing. Ice. Is flying in ice good? No, but let me tell you, let me make you feel good, because the Black Hawk helicopter has a sophisticated anti-icing system. You see, it takes the hot air off the exhaust, and we have 2 engines, so it takes the hot air, note this, when they're full operational power. The engines have to be at full operational power. It takes the hot air to get them hot enough, and sucks it into a little tube, and pushes that tube all the way up into the rotor blades, and heats up the rotor blades. That's my anti-icing system. Feeling good? We're feeling good. So we're going to fly. We're flying instruments in the clouds in icing for the first 45 minutes of the flight. About as tricky as you get. And then the last half of the flight, we're going to fly visual. We'll be below the lake effect line and fly visual into Albany. I am the co-pilot. I'm a Chief Warrant Officer 2, and right here next to me in the left seat is the pilot in command. He's also a Chief Warrant Officer 2, same rank, but he's the pilot in command. In the back is a colonel. He's the liaison of the governor. He's from like 4 levels up the chain. We don't know him. So we follow all our flight plans, take care of everything, and plan the mission. We're going to take off, and I'm on the controls. Yes, it bounces like that. And I'm on the controls, and we take off into the full operational power, turn on the anti-ice, we're punching in, we punch in the clouds, we're flying instruments, 20 minutes in the flight, everything's going okay. Oh, shoot. Is that what we said? Master caution alarm. Something's wrong. We're in the ice, in the clouds. I'm on the controls. I said, everything's okay. I'm communicating. I'm aviating. Everything's okay. The pilot in command starts panicking. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! We figure out that it's the engine RPM on engine 1 is fluctuating on the gauge. Now, ladies, can you hear a difference in the RPM when you go from gas to brake? Yes. Do you think I can hear the jet engine over my head going up and down like this? It's steady. Immediately, I knew from my emergency procedures it's a chip malfunction because the raw data goes into a computer just like our cars, and it regurgitates out into the panel. So I knew I lost a boot. I knew that it was a chip malfunction. But the emergency procedure in the checklist in the pilot in command says, no, 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 no! We're going to pull the engine back to idle and lose our anti-icing. What do you do? What do you do when you're in that situation? The colonel in the back, the pilot in command, I'm like low on the totem pole. But what do you do? What do you do? Here's what I did. I'm going to pull the microphone down. Don't touch that truck. You want to wait until we're out of the ice? You want to wait until we're out of this? Be my guest. We can fly on one engine, but not in ice. You don't touch that. He looks at me. He sounded like that recruiter at the beginning. Well, I said, look it up in the book. Well, the book's like 4 inches thick, and it's really hard to get to when you're flying. And he gets it. He wants to prove me wrong. He gets it, and he, boom, puts it on his lap. And then we keep flying, and nothing. Silence. He's talking to air traffic control, but he's not saying anything about that emergency. And we fly. We get into final approach in Albany. And Derek over here says, crew chief, please write up this aircraft for a signal data converter chip malfunction. Good idea. Glad you thought of it. We write it up. We get the part in. And he says, and we start flying missions. And he goes, the colonel in the back comes up to me. And he goes, Chief Mac, we have a mission to fly tomorrow. We're going here, 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 and I pull out my handy-dandy notebook. And I start writing down the details. I'm like, yes, sir, we'll take care of it. Derek, pilot in command to plan the mission. The next mission, the same thing. Chief Mac, we have a mission. Yes, sir, take all the notes down. Derek. And he says, at the end of the week, the colonel says, Chief Mac, in my office. Yes, sir. He says, why didn't you tell me you weren't the pilot in command? Sir, I didn't know you didn't know. I didn't know you didn't know. Okay. And he goes, I don't know if you know this, but I flew a desk. Before I flew a desk, I flew Blackhawks too. So I knew what was going on in that flight. And if you hadn't stopped him when you did, I was going to unstrap my seatbelt, climb into the front, and stop him. Good job. So what I want to leave you with, because I'm getting the stop sign, what I want to leave you with is if you see a need, lead. Don't wait to get appointed. Don't wait to get asked. Don't wait to get elected. Don't wait to get promoted. If you see a need, lead. We all have the ability, the capability, and the responsibility to make a difference by leading when we see that need. Can you do that? Yeah. Are we tracking? It has been an absolute honor to be here with you today. Thank you for having me.